Alright, so first we learned that we can select elements by the tag name. Not only that, we learned also that we can select multiple elements at the same time by adding the comma after each element. Next, we covered how to add more specificity, means how to be specific about element selection, either by targeting a specific class attribute value or ID. So if you want to select elements by the class attribute value, we use the period followed by the class attribute value. And if you want to select elements based on the ID, we use the hashtag sign followed by the ID attribute value. In addition to that, if the element is composed of multiple class names, we can select it by targeting those class names without adding any white space in between them. And of course, I told you that we can apply the same rule if we were targeting multiple IDs by using the hashtag sign without any white space in between them too. Now, of course, we don't always select elements based on the ID or the class attribute, and if the element does contain a foreign attribute which is not included in the HTML markup or standard, we still can target it by using the square brackets and then the attribute name followed by the equal sign and the value we are interested in. Not only that, if we want to search for a substring that is included at the beginning of that attribute value, we use the caret sign. If we want to look at the end, we use the dollar sign. And if we want to search in between, means not at the beginning and not at the end, we use the tilde. Next, we covered how to select elements based on their position. We learned how to select elements that are inside another element by calling the first element. We leave some white space and then the second element name. Also, we learned how to select elements that are considered as direct children of another element using the greater than sign. And finally, we covered how to select elements that are placed immediately after another element using the plus sign. Now, in CSS terminology, we refer to them, the plus sign and the greater than sign, as CSS combinators. And there is one particular one I didn't cover in the previous video, which is called the general sibling combinator, which has this syntax. Let me show you. So let's say we want to select all the P elements that are placed after this div. And at the same time, we don't care if the P's are placed immediately after the div or not. So in this case, you use the CSS selector, div tilde P. And like this, we get all the P elements that are placed after the div without taking into consideration if they are immediately placed after it. Of course, it can be other elements in between. Now, finally, we learned how to select an element based on its position using nth child, and that's it. So if you feel you forgot about something, you can always go back to this video, or you can download the cheat sheet that I include in this lecture as a downloadable resource.